Welcome again. Now, it's Khehla Sitole's last day in office as police commissioner, and everybody is eager to know who will be his successor. I guess we don't have much to wait now, longer to wait. The president will be announcing that at 4:30 this afternoon. Now, last month, he announced the early termination of the National Police Commissioner's contract, saying it was in the best interest of the country. My colleague, senior reporter Aviwe Mtila, was earlier at Maupanagha in Pretoria, where the National Commission, of course, is based. He's back now. He's in the studio with us. Aviwe, as you were driving back from Tshwane, coming back here to our studios in Hyde Park, we got this announcement, this media advisory, that 4:30 today, the president will tell the nation who is the successful candidate, who's going to be the top cop of the country as soon as Khehla Sitole vacates the office today. Let me just start there. Did you get a sense when you were in Pretoria, who could it be? I mean, there were leaked names that have been reported in the media. What did you pick up?
Well, there's a whole veil of secrecy around who's going to be the next police commissioner. I've been having those chats in the background, for example, with the policing unions, who tell me that today they actually met with the presidency officials as well as the police minister, Khehla, just on the appointment itself. So we're expecting it any time now, as we heard that at 4:30 that appointment will be officially announced. But I can tell you, when I got to Maupanagha today, the writing was already on the wall, or let me say the portraits were off the wall. As you'd understand, as you walk in those official government buildings, where you'd see the number of portraits of the leaders of that specific building. There were the president's picture was there. Khehla's picture was there, as well as the deputy police commissioner, but the picture that wasn't there was that of the General Khehla.
Was he there himself?
Not at all. I was told that he's not around. I was told to go to even the Talcum Towers, the new police headquarters, where, of course, we haven't been able to track him, as well as made numerous calls to try and reach out to him. Of course, there has been these complaints around the secrecy of it all. As you'd understand, that the president has set a precedent where it comes to the announcements of these big officials. For example, the SARS commissioner was announced quite publicly, and the process was quite public in itself. Even the appointment of the Chief Justice was quite public in itself. There has been complaints from institutions such as Corruption Watch, questioning why this particular appointment, an important appointment of the police commissioner, has been some sort of a secret, like in the conversations that I had with Kavisha Pillay. Let's take a listen to that.
It is very unfortunate that President Ramaphosa is acting against his own precedents that he had set when, reviewing and doing appointments differently. And, for example, the appointment of the National Director of Public Prosecutions, or the appointment of the SARS Commissioner, even the recent appointment of the JSC appointments, the Chief Justice appointments. The President has taken initiatives to ensure that those processes were open, that they were transparent, that they were forms of public participation. So it's concerning, and it's definitely really disappointing that in the National Police Commissioner, which one can argue is as important as those other appointments that the President had made, he's not following a precedent in process that he himself had set. And the police serve an important function in our country, and they've been riddled with bad leadership, with corruption, with misconduct, and they need a leader that is going to be ethical, someone whose integrity is beyond reproach, and someone that the public actually feels confidence in, and that the police service themselves, those who work in the police service, also feel confident in. So this process that's happening behind closed doors is not okay. It's not okay for the purposes of transparency. It's not okay from the perspective of just following good appointment proceedings. And I think it's really disappointing that the president could have done better in this regard.
Okay, Khehla Sitole is on his way out. You didn't even see his portrait when you were at the head office in Pretoria of the police, and also he was not there himself. But I mean, he was the police commissioner until today, and some people will be commenting about his track record. I mean, I heard of the new person, because the people will compare to say, what will the new broom bring? But what about Khehla Sitole's record?
Well, he's been marred, the tenure itself has been marred with a lot of controversy, and the name of General Khehla Sitole has made a lot of headlines over the last 4 years. I mean, it was just 8 months shy of him completing his full tenure, which is becoming a norm now that the South African police commissioners don't finish their tenures. But if you look at General Sitole, even a scathing judgment just earlier on in this year in January that said in the Gauteng High Court that he himself favored the interests of the African National Congress more than the interest of the Republic itself, than South Africa itself. This, of course, dates back to 2017, as he was just appointed as a police commissioner ahead of that Nasrec conference, where, of course, there was that 45 million rand tender for those cell phone grabbers ahead of the ANC contract. So there were suggestions that he was quite a factional a police general, even didn't see eye to eye with the police minister himself, Bheki Cele. That, of course, playing out in the public. We saw it even in the July unrest, where he was said to have been caught napping during those July unrest in KwaZulu-Natal as well as Gauteng. A number of media headlines that have made the headlines around General Sitole's tenure, something that the Institute of Security Studies, Johan Burger, touched on. Let's take a listen to that.
I would not give him a very good rating. I think the facts shows that he was not an inspirational leader. He was not an operational leader of the police service. You know, my information is that the police are left with more than 100 strategies that is left behind. So he was a strategic thinker, and his solution to every problem was to develop a strategy for that. It's impossible to implement all that number of strategies. And of course, as far as the KwaZulu-Natal situation is concerned, it is an unacceptable excuse for him to say he's run this from his office and operations room at his office, while one would have expected him, given the fact that the crucial part of the violence was happening in KwaZulu-Natal, and the police were then blamed for not being able to bring the situation under control, that he should go there in person to provide direct operational leadership, which he failed to do. So given all of that, and of course the court judgment and his attempts at trying to block the investigation into what really happened there, all of that I think works against him and does not provide us with a positive assessment of the kind of leader that he was.
That's Johan Burger from the Institute of Security Studies giving his views in terms of rating of the former, we can call him that now, the former police commissioner Khehla Sitole, because we only have a few hours to go. Actually, in about an hour's time from now, the President of the Republic, Matamela Ramaphosas, will announce the new National Police Commissioner.